Yo, my beautiful people, you guys are in for an incredible conversation this week. My name is Ben. Welcome to the GoalLink Show. I'm the founder and host of everything GoalLink. GoalLink is a supportive community of growth junkies embracing weekly challenges. So we take challenges from mission-inspired brands and we tailor them. This week we are joining my friend and the amazing guest this week, Dr. Jen Esquer, or Doc Jen Fit as you might know her. And so partnered with her to do these inspiring challenges to level up our mind, body, and soul. So it could be a cold shower, it could be waking up at 5 a.m., it could be taking yourself on a date, meditation, journaling. I went to a therapist for the first time because of these challenges. So we just love to level up. And if that's you looking for your fullest potential and embracing the challenge, even if the challenge means relaxing every once in a while, then you are in the right place. So welcome. And this week, like I said, we have my friend Jen, Doc Jen Fit, on the show. And this is an awesome episode. I'm so excited for you to listen. We go everywhere from her expertise in the physical realm of listening to your body, taking care of your body, relieving pain, preventing injury. She even talks about breath. This is a big one that surprised me. That is breathing through your diaphragm and slow exhales. She goes into the science and the benefits of this, of how it can actually relieve pain. Like just breathing can relieve pain. And she has a big social media audience, and it's grown to over 500,000. And she's grown personally right along with them. And you'll hear it in this episode. She's genuine, she's authentic. She tells you what she's gone through, like a negative, unfaithful relationship, and how she went through that, and how she has even taken ownership of how she drew that in. Mind-boggling to me, because some people just want to say, oh, it's this person. But she's taken ownership to heal and to forgive herself and the other person and find and be in a new, amazing relationship. And whew, this is just good. So let's just get into it. So enjoy this amazing convo with Jen, Doc Jen Fit, and stay tuned to find out what our challenge this week is after the convo. Welcome to the GoalLink Show. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
For real though, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like, okay, I'm gonna lean back here.
Yeah, get comfortable.
Get comfortable. So I'm not gonna lie, like, it means a lot to me. Like, you know, of course we don't like to say like, but it's just a reality of like, okay, this person with hundreds of thousands of followers, I know you're more than that. Like, you're a genuine human, and that's why I already connect with you. But it means a lot that you made time for me, for real. So thank you.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I don't even see it as like the following is, you know, whatever. And that's just grown over time, which has been so incredibly amazing that people continue to want to come and learn about their bodies. But it's never been something that I'm like, well, now I'm celebrity status.
Has it ever gone here since we're on this topic?
Yeah.
Has it ever gone to your head though? Or losing followers, has ever that gone to your head?
Sometimes it's like, oh, why aren't people like grasping it? Or am I like, it makes me sad in a sense of like, I'm trying to educate. I don't know if people are getting the concept anymore. What do I need to do? How can I capture audience? In a way of wanting to educate more, but not like, I know that it ebbs and flows and it comes and goes, and sometimes I lose, and sometimes it does get frustrating because I'm putting a lot of work into it, especially like as it continues, and algorithms change all the time and things happen. So sometimes I do notice myself getting like sad and down.
Yes.
But not necessarily, I mean, I try not to come from an ego place. I do have to obviously check, like, is this coming from a place of like wanting to be seen, or is it coming from a place of wanting to help? And so always making sure like where is my intention behind this? And okay, how can I just continue to move forward and say, I'm going to continue to give and continue to give back, and whoever needs to see it is going to see it.
Yeah, that's cool. And it's funny, I'm trying to get that in place right now. Because even sometimes when, like, literally, I remember losing one follower. I was like, what's going on? You know, just because you watch it.
Yeah.
But because for me, it's like, okay, like you have to measure that impact somehow. And that is a number, obviously.
Yeah.
How else do you measure your impact besides, like, how do you know people are grasping it or like you're making an impact in their life?
The feedback that I get. And honestly, it means so much too, to like get random feedback from people on the streets, or I'll be at a conference or something and someone come up to me, I follow you, you're doing great work. And I'm like, okay, good. Like people are still appreciating what I'm putting out. And because as my Instagram has grown, like I've grown with it. And I am now more open than I've ever been. And I feel like I can connect with my audience on even a deeper level than just the body, you know, and just what I've shown from time to time.
Yes.
And and so as that continues to grow, I continue to grow. So knowing that people are still appreciating the type of content and the information that I'm giving, and as I continue to learn just with clients that I have or courses that I take, like my information is going to change, and it's not necessarily like right, wrong, good, bad. And you know, here's this one thing for this injury, like it continues to expand and grow. And so I just to know that people are like appreciating the continued content and the continued knowledge, even as it changes, I'm very, like, it just means a lot. So looking for that feedback, I guess.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, you are doing well. And because it can be, some people think, right, like if you don't have the following you have or anything, right, that any level of success, people think you don't need to hear that.
Yeah.
But you do, just like anyone, right? Of like, trust, like you're killing it, like you're doing awesome.
Thank you.
Right? Like for real, we all need it.
Yeah.
You know? And so you got to make sure to, from any level, any human, we all need that. And we'll jump into that because I've been impressed of how you are jumping into other topics besides just the body. But I think that's really cool. So let's go to little Jen, like you as a kid, because I want to know more of like, because I think you had a similar upbringing as me as far as like religious, conservative, right? And I've heard you talk about how shy you were. Me too. And so like, can I describe like what was your childhood like?
My childhood was great, like so incredibly appreciative for the upbringing that I had, and the parents that I had, and and the structure that I had. And structure and routine is amazing for children and necessary in their continued growth. But I think at some point along the way, I allowed that to kind of hinder my own exploration in continued questioning and continuing to dive into myself and knowing the answer for me rather than relying on like being told the answer or being told what to do. I was like little Miss Goody Two Shoes. Then
yeah, were you just
rule
like
follower?
Okay, me too. So were you just like obedient, just like whatever it was? Were you just like, I'll do it, whatever your parents said?
Yeah, I was pretty like rule follower to a T. And even like I remember like in college then, like I didn't drink through high school or anything. And then once I hit college, then I like experienced what drinking was and everything. And I remember going to like Santa Barbara for Halloween with my cousins one year, and we did The Wizard of Oz, and I was what is her name? What's the main person?
Dorothy,
thank you. I was like, how did you forget that?
That's funny.
But yeah, I was her because like all nice and perfect and all the things, you know, it's just, so it was funny, like even from my family, even from whatever, like I got categorized in that. But I also was living into that. Like there's even a video from when we're like 5, maybe a little bit older. We're probably like 7 or 8, and I'm playing with my cousins, and we all used to go camping as a whole family. And no, I gotta say we were like 5. We were young. And you can just see all our personalities right there in like 5 seconds, where my uncle was kind of videotaping into a tent that we were all playing in, me and my 2 cousins that I'm closest with. One of my cousins is kind of dominating my other cousin and like playing and tickling, which she is so the controller dominator. And then my other cousin's just like living it up and laughing, which she's just like the funny one, go with the flow. And then when they rolled over, the bed sheet came off, so I came over and put the bed sheet back on.
Like immediately?
Yeah. So it was like it showed all our personalities in like 5 seconds, which is just crazy.
That's so cool. Like really though, like there is a balance of nature and nurture.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like kids
what's innately in us already.
Just immediately like with you, you know?
Yeah.
That's cool. So when did you, I'm curious with this for myself. So just so you know, well, so why didn't you drink? So like what is like your specific religious background?
I grew up Catholic, but I mean, we have wine in church and yeah, that's not really like, I think it was just more so my family upbringing and knowing that like to be a good student and growing up as a gymnast, Friday nights I had gymnastics until 9. And then gymnastics Saturday morning early. So I wasn't going out partying. I didn't go to any football games. So I just had a very different structure in that way where I was committed to gymnastics when I was in it. And then once I was out, I was still committed to like, well, why would I do that now? I don't need to. And I was still kind of committed to this. I want to play the role of being good and following the rules. And I wanted that for myself.
So how has that benefited you? We're going to go into you kind of testing the waters the other way, but how has that structure or being good, how has that benefited you into adulthood?
I always am searching for, am I in integrity with where I want to be? And so whether that is what I'm posting on social media, yes, I know what is going to draw in more viewers. And so like, okay, I will post something in workout clothes, like in leggings and a sports bra, because I know that is going to be more attractive. And is my information going to just be about the body, or is it actually going to be educational? So making sure that I can walk that line of understanding I do get to draw people in. That's marketing aspect 101. Yeah. How are you going to draw on the audience? And how am I going to be in integrity to what I believe and what I'm trying to promote? And so making sure that I'm always just being so mindful, or even if I'm going out and doing something, or if no one's watching, like, how am I still showing up for me? Or I said that I was going to eat well this week and not put in a lot of sugar, or I said that I was going to get up and go meet someone for a workout. Like, am I being in integrity with my own word?
That's cool. And that's because have you experienced with people who are not like that? Because I am naturally like that. Yeah. And it's almost, it's weird because it started off as like just doing the right thing for church leaders or parents, but then it turned into me. Like, if I don't keep my promise to myself, like, even if I write something down, like I could show you like I do like 5 things I want to accomplish every day. And if I don't check one of those things off, it like eats at me. Totally. Because it's like I said I was going to do it. Right. That's interesting. So how did you, well, quick fact for you, I've actually never been drunk.
Wow. Still. Good for you.
Good for you, yeah.
I can't say the same.
It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. But so how have you started to test that, or what have your experiences been of, because I feel like every upbringing, it all has a purpose. Like, we're all different. Yeah. Like, because some people feel like, oh, my parents did this, or they didn't do this, or I was raised this way or wasn't raised this way. It's like, well, regardless, it's what's happened. Yeah. And you have your path and you have your purpose, and like, it has your strengths, and it has the weaknesses that you got to explore. So how have you started to explore the other side? I don't even know what you would call that. I don't want to say disobedient. Yeah. But kind of playing in that realm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For me, it was still like, it was just like being open to new experiences. Because there's a large part of me that playing into being, little Miss Goody Two Shoes and wanting to follow the rules and everything kept me in a box rather than allowing me to explore and really make decisions for myself. Like, am I doing this because my parents said I need to do this, or my boyfriend said I need to do this, or my friend said, or am I doing this because I really want to do it, or I don't really want to do it? And so starting to really explore those things, I think, allowed me to then like open up and be like, okay, how does this make me feel? What if I tried it? What if, and knowing that I would be honest. So my parents knew when I drank, and I'm actually very like appreciative. Like, I even had one time where my mom, I mean, this is obviously past 21 now. And, I remember going on a run with my mom, and she was like, you know what? I'm actually like really proud that you got to experience your like Vegas years and go and do that, because my brother and sister both had gotten married very young, and like went into family life right away, and went into the grind right away of like work, family, kids, you know, and all of that. And I didn't. And she was like, I'm actually like glad you got to travel, and glad you got to explore what Vegas life would be. And it also kept it very open, where I had friends that we would go to Vegas and they would be like, oh, bye mom, going to Palm Springs with my girlfriends.
So they would lie.
They would lie. And I didn't have to lie.
That's so cool.
My parents knew where I was, and knew that I was going to be responsible because I'm not lying. I'm not trying to push any boundaries. I wasn't going home with guys or doing anything weird. I definitely was never into drugs. I like to dance. So I wanted to go to Vegas. I got into the clubs for free, and I could dance all night long. Like, that's what I wanted to do. And my parents were like, knew about it. Anything I'd post on social media, my parents knew about it. So I am, again, so grateful that though they were strict while I was growing up, I also was able to, you know, develop that relationship along the way and continue to say, okay, this is what I'm doing. And rather than scolding me, allowing me to have the freedom to explore.
That's why do you think, like, what did your parents do well to raise like such a good kid?
Oh my God.
And just a person.
I can't even imagine like raising kids, especially like as we continue to develop into this social media world and whatever it's becoming. I don't even know how they did it, to be honest, because they were pretty strict growing up. And I think what they did well was creating structure and creating the ability for us to explore within that structure.
Yeah, that's so cool. I really like that, like, whole philosophy.
Yeah.
I like that philosophy. Where does your like love and energy come from?
My family. People that I surround myself with, for sure. I have, again, been so fortunate to grow up in such a connected and generous, amazing family where I was connected. My best friends were my cousins growing up. We went on whole family vacations with my aunts and uncles and my grandparents. My grandparents showed up to my gymnastics competitions, not just my parents. And I got to see a lot of amazing examples of love and partnership. Very rarely were there divorces, which, good or bad, I don't really know, right? I don't know the in-depth of their relationships, but I do know that we all showed up for each other no matter what. And if you weren't there, grandma was pissed. But it really gave me that appreciation of loyalty, trust, love, love no matter what. And openness, like, okay, you messed up. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's explore why. And being able to have that relationship with my cousins, with my grandparents, with my aunts and uncles, with my parents, like the energy comes from having all those amazing people around me and having support.
That's true, man. I can tell, like, you freaking love your family, which is dope.
I do.
That's cool. Cause like there isn't, you know, like in especially like the millennial generation. Yeah. I feel like you just want to get away. Yep. Or you blame them for things. And
that's the message. I think that happens a lot too. And different in every circumstance. Just like I'm a physical therapist, you ask me about a pain, I'm going to say it depends. Yeah. It depends in the relationships with which you're around as well. And I just know that there might be some family members who aren't open to walking down the same path or growing or whatever that may be. It doesn't make it wrong, right, good, bad. It just is what it is. And so it's the ability to hold space, accept, allow, and then know when your energy gets to move into being around them and when you need to pull your energy out. But not about judging, not about making it wrong or right, and not necessarily about having to cut it off unless it's like understanding your boundaries, I think is the main thing, and being able to communicate from a place of love rather than a place of judgment.
So what is that? What is communicating? Like, say, yeah, like what is that? What is communicating from a place of love? Because it is so easy. Here, I'll tell you something actually.
Yeah.
I was on the plane on the way here, and I saw the dude in front of me, like he had a bandage on the back of his head, and I was just like, oh, like maybe he got surgery. And then later I think he was a burn victim, and because, just like his arms, like he's missing some fingers, and immediately my thought, like my programming went to judgment just automatically. I was like, oh, that's weird, or, and then I stopped, and I was like, no. And then I immediately said in my head and like stared at him and like tried to like send sonic waves of like love, and it's like, dude, you're the freaking man, like I love you and I hope everything's going well. And even just that, I could tell it was just put me like in a better state of mind and a heart state. So what does that mean for you, of even when it's hard, like how do you love someone and trust their path and unfolding? Because it's so easy to say, well, it's not benefiting me. So how do you trust that process and that space, like you said, that allow that space?
I always know that we're all on our own journeys, and that's going to mean something different to everybody. And we all have our own perceptions of things, like all the time. You can be in the same exact situation of someone, and they're going to take a perception maybe different than what you took. And then that's when we create these, I'm right, you're wrong, like this is what happened. And like the memories that we actually have of, I think I was watching some documentary about like what our brain actually remembers in terms of memories.
Do you know what
like,
the percentage is?
Isn't it like, it's something crazy low that we actually remember.
You only remember 30%.
Yeah. Which is insane to me.
Which kind of scares me. I'm like, is my childhood even real?
I know, right? But that's why, going into the practices of how can I preserve my brain and what I do have even more, like that makes it even more important, which is a whole different topic, right? But just understanding like we're all going to develop our own perceptions of things, and allowing someone to have that journey for themselves, and they're going to make up what it is for themselves. Like we're all selfish beings.
It really is true.
So if we stop making it about us and just know like that's theirs, they're doing their own thing. Like, I recently went on a retreat, and we got to really be in the observation of Mother Earth, Mother Nature. And the things that I took away from that is really being in this appreciation of how Mother Earth, Mother Nature, whatever, but we've always called her Mother, no matter what, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, like that's always been the thing. She embodies both feminine and masculine so incredibly well. Like it should be goals for all human beings because if we look, like the intention behind Mother Nature, like waves are going to crash, things are going to happen no matter what.
So do you literally mean like ocean waves are going to crash?
Yeah.
So talk about that. Like, what does that symbolize?
Intention, directness, mad respect. Like you have to, if you're going to be in the ocean, you got to respect the ocean or else you can die. So a mad respect because of the directness, the intention, the force behind anything, right? You could be hiking, you could be biking, you could be whatever. You never know when a rock is going to come up or the path is going to change or anything might happen. So that ability for that directness creates this respect, or it should. I mean, a lot of people don't have as much respect, right?
Yeah.
But it's that unawareness of that respect. So that intention, that directness, I feel like that's that masculine. And then the feminine is if you just walk into Mother Nature, like look at all of the living organisms that she holds. So holding space for literally everything and anything. And this incredible allowance and grace for us humans coming and building and doing all these things and like, okay, I'm going to build here, or I'm going to grow here. Like, okay, I'm going to flow here. Like whatever, like there's this amazing acceptance and allowance and holding space, which is the feminine. And so being able to marry both of those, like that should be our goal. And we can't, it's hard to do that with a lack of awareness, which is why people don't then respect the earth or respect what we do, what she holds, what she really, you know, her force and her being, and how we do get to be mindful of recycling or doing all these other things. Like we're not as aware of it because we're just lacking that awareness. And I think that's human interaction as well. If we lack the awareness of another person having their perception, another person having their experience, another person going through their journey and allowing that space, then we make it about us. We take it personally. We say, oh, they're not good, or we put judgment on it. And it's that lack of awareness. And it's the same with our bodies. And it's like, if I don't have the awareness within my body, I don't know that I need to eat better. I don't know that I need to be moving into different areas within my body and exploring different like places in my body if I'm just lacking awareness. So for me, awareness is key. It brings us back into this continuing to come back to, okay, where am I right now? Who am I being? How am I showing up for myself? How am I showing up for other people? How am I showing up for anything in life around me? And it's never going to be like a snap. Everything's perfect. I know it all. It's a journey. It's a continued journey. And I think it's that allowance to be on that journey for yourself too. Like know that you're going to mess up, know that it's not going to go your way all the time, know that you can't control things. And it's just that continual awareness to come back to, okay, I'm coming back to where I am in this moment again and again and again.
That's the thing though, like of what you said, it's so easy to say, but how do you practice that? Because even it was yesterday morning and I woke up and I was immediately reactive, thinking of all the things I have to do. And then so for me it's like, okay, I gotta meditate, drink my tea and journal. And then so like how do you again and again and again get back into that state of awareness?
Just like you said, developing my practices that I need for myself. So for you, I think that's such a beautiful practice to understand, okay, this is going to take me back into myself. And I think meditation in general is going to help so many people if we can start to be open to the practice of that. And for a lot of people, I just start with the breath, because if we can slow the breath and really focus on what the breath can do for us, it can literally change our nervous system and our chemicals within our brain and within our body. So if we can start to adjust our whole system just based on breath, then we automatically kind of tap into that meditative state and come back to self.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that, about the power of breath. So will you tell me, like, it's different than what people think.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me, like, blow our minds with breathing. That sounds weird, but yeah.
So I like to blow people's minds in the easiest way possible and make it like so simple. Like my whole Instagram has grown and developed after simple things. Like I try to dumb it down, right? That sounds bad, but I try to make it as digestible as possible, because then that's when you really start to build that awareness. Like you're not going to understand some complex terms and then try to take that into your body and apply that every time. You're going to apply what's actually easy to understand. So if we go back to the breath and we look at this breath cycle, we have the inhalation phase and the exhalation phase. So, and if we just cut that in half, the inhalation phase is actually more of that sympathetic. So you have your autonomic nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic. Sympathetic is that fight, flight, freeze. So we've probably all heard of that. That's that sympathetic state. the other half, the exhalation, is the parasympathetic state, the rest, relax, digest state of being. And so if you think about it then, if you just slow down the inhalation or took lower or not, a shorter amount of time on the inhalation and a longer amount of time in the exhalation, then we increase and we actually tap on that parasympathetic system, that rest, relax, digest. And it's usually opposite of how we think.
People focus on the inhale.
Yes, we always focus on the inhale. Take a big inhale and relax, and it's like hold it at the top, and then it's like
that's exactly what happens.
It's complete opposite. Yeah. And it depends. Like if I need to go into this excitatory state, if I'm going to go, I don't know, do a competition or go work out or go do something that I want my body to be excited for, then I probably want to ramp up and get into a more inhalation state. But if I'm trying to calm the F down, if I am like feeling overwhelmed, feeling not good enough, like granted, this happens to everyone, like imposter syndrome, no confidence. It's not that you don't have confidence. It's this moment that is coming over you. And it's that stress, it's that panic, it's that anxiety. So if we can start to adjust that and shift that into that parasympathetic, into that exhalation phase, then we can literally start to adjust it so quickly, so easily. And even pain. This is what I use a lot for pain.
Yeah. So tell me about that, because I want to know more about this. So like, how does breathing like help my pain?
So typically what happens, and I just did this with my friend Todd. I went to Todd Herman's event called Performance Con for online marketers, and he came to me. It was the second to last night. And so it was the night before the last day, and he was like locked up in his back.
Really?
And he was like, so can you tell me some things that I could do? Someone tried to rub me out already, and it makes me feel worse. And that's the thing. Like we think where the pain is, like I need to address right there. Where, especially if we're talking about back pain, especially if you're the host of the whole event and you're putting on this huge thing that you want everyone to get a lot of benefit, that's a lot of pressure on you. So already you have so much tension already built into your system.
Like now, more than physical, right? It's
so much more than physical. Yeah. And so we talked about that for a second, and he was like, this is like the most relaxed I've ever felt at an event. I'm like, okay. And you're still the host. Like, I think we take things for granted, like, because it does become a part of our everyday life. Like, well, I'm already doing a million things a day, so I feel fine. We've programmed that in to become our normal, our sympathetic state, that go, 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 high energy. We've programmed that in to be our normal. So why would it affect me? I feel relaxed.
You get used to it.
Yes, you feel relaxed at your heightened state.
Yeah, you get used to the stress.
Yes.
The stress state, you get used to it, and it's your new normal.
Yeah.
But that's doing a ton of damage.
So then we have to then learn how to program in more of that parasympathetic. So all I did was I was literally sitting across from him. I wasn't even touching him, didn't do anything. And I just was talking to him about these things. And so we talked about the stress, we talked about like mindset around it. But the thing about especially back pain is that when we feel pain, it immediately is a bad thing. We acknowledge pain as a trigger to be what is happening. Oh no, this is bad. Or I don't have time for this. Especially someone running an event. I don't have time for pain. Why is pain here? Like, I need this to go away. I'm trying to speak on stage. I'm trying to do all these things. What is that doing? It's only increasing that sympathetic response.
So did you do a breathing practice with them?
So I did a breathing practice.
Okay.
So I talked to him about, it's so easy. It's totally just thinking about doubling your exhale. So for every inhale, however long you inhale, maybe 2 to 4 seconds, you're going to double that.
I'm focusing on it now.
Good. You're going to double that on the exhale, and make it really slow and drawn out. The other thing to think about is, where are you inhaling from? Where are you exhaling from? So if we talk about diaphragmatic breathing, which that word gets thrown around a lot, where is your diaphragm? How does it work? Like people don't even, they might talk about this and be like, oh, I need to push my tummy in and out. And I'm like, yes. And that's not like your diaphragm doesn't push forward and back. Your diaphragm actually goes up and down when we breathe. And it's connected. I mean, it's connected from our neck all the way down to our hip flexor. That's why hip flexor tightness, this can even be associated with how your diaphragm is moving. But so your diaphragm rests underneath your rib cage. So rather than just thinking of your tummy pushing in and out, what I like to do is actually put hands around the low rib cage. Yeah. And then I tell people, take a breath in and feel that rib cage expand to the sides, to the front and back. And that's where you should be breathing in from. And then a really slow exhale, either from your nose or from your mouth, like doubling however long you were breathing in, rather than taking this inhalation up.
And shoulders, I've heard you talk about that.
Yes, because that's what we do. We take this long inhalation and we lift our shoulders. We're literally using our accessory muscles to try to relax. So accessory muscles are what we use. They help. Accessory means to help, right? So these are the muscles around the neck and the upper trap area and the chest that help if you're running, that help if you're in like competitive and working out and doing other things to get you to breathe bigger. These muscles will then help. But then why in a relaxed state are we recruiting them, right? We shouldn't be lifting our shoulders and recruiting these accessory muscles unless we're in that high level state. So
that's so interesting.
That's where it usually goes, where people are utilizing this too much because they're trying to relax, and yet I'm at work, I'm like at the computer, so already your head's going forward, you're probably already getting hunched and crunched in here, and then you're stressed, and then you're trying to take breaths and you're like, oh God, got to get this done. You're staying here, and then people are like, I just need my upper traps rubbed out, I have a headache, I have all this. And I'm like, yeah, because you're staying in that inhalation state. It's the same of like someone scaring you and you're like everything gets tight, shoulders rise, and you stay in that inhalation and you hold. That's that excitatory state. So if then I can say, okay, I'm going to teach you how to tap into that parasympathetic, go into that exhalation phase where you get out of a massage and you're like, that's the state that you want to find. And what that also does is when we're in that inhalation state, that sympathetic, we're releasing more cortisol and adrenaline, and we're making our nerves even more sensitive. We're increasing that spasm, that stress within our body and that tension, because just like, again, someone scares you, everything gets tight and into your body. If now I'm saying pain is bad, I don't have time for this, why is this here, we're increasing that spasm reaction. So actually by trying to stand up straight, control it, like, oh my God, why is this here? I'm only making it worse.
That's so interesting. So what do we do besides,
So what I did with Todd, was just have him put his hands on his rib cage and focus on how he's inhaling, how he's exhaling, taking a longer exhale. You can even like take your fingers and kind of dig underneath your rib cage and try to get fluids moving a little bit better, drinking lots of water, relaxing the body, not worrying about tension and posture as much. Like you don't have to be in perfect posture. Your back can flex. That's okay. Allow your body to relax and say it's safe. It's okay. Know that it's not about perfect posture that's going to fix you, because that's only increasing tension within those muscles that are already tensed and spasmed. So how can we get you to relax then? So, and what rubbing underneath the rib cage does, there's parts where your nervous system and your lymphatic system cross. And if we can tap into both of those at the same time, we help to stimulate that nervous system with the breathing, getting you to relax, and we help to move the fluids through your body so that now your fascia can start to glide again. You can start to actually feel things within your body, and you can start to calm down that inflammation.
Yeah, it really is just getting into the parasympathetic, like calm.
Yes, and decreasing that cortisol levels, decreasing that sensitivity, because when we're increasing that inflammation, we're actually creating more sensitivity on those nerves, so they're going to feel the pain a lot more.
So what is inflammation? Well, like inflammation.
Yeah.
Because you hear so much about that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into like health books or podcasts or whatever, you hear inflammation. Cancer, dementia.
Yes.
Like literally, what is it though? Like what is happening? Like what is happening when we say inflammation?
I mean, there's so many different kind of processes that are, well, not so many different. There's a process that happens within the body, and we don't really need to get into the technicalities of it. All you need to know is that you're building up, like you're not allowing fluids to move throughout your body. You kind of build up this, think about like when your ankle gets swollen, if you roll your ankle, right? And all these fluids and everything kind of come to the surface, and that is inflammation, where fluids now aren't pooling and moving through the body. So that means there's going to be increased tension in the muscle tissue. The nerves are not going to move as well and have places to slide and glide. So everything kind of gets bunched and thicker. So if you think of that happening,
that makes sense,
within the body, it's just not moving as well as it should. You've also probably heard that the body is 70% water. That's why, or fluid. That's why we need to be drinking a lot more water. Well, if none of those fluids are moving the way that they should, it's because it's all building and pooling. And so one of the other ways that we can actually start to increase the vasodilation, meaning that we just increase the diameter within our blood vessels and improve circulation and improve that, is breathing in and out through our nose. So nasal breathing, that releases something called nitric oxide, and we actually cause those blood vessels to dilate, to open, so that we can get fluid to move better. We can get oxygen to move through our bodies better. We can oxygenate our brains, not have as much fatigue and brain fog and all of these other things. So especially at night, like if you're a mouth breather at night, you're probably waking up groggy, needing that coffee, needing all these things, not feeling energized for the day. Like breathing in and out through your mouth when you're sleeping is a big one.
That's crazy. So breathing has a ton, especially like even meditation. You think like, oh, meditation is just to get calm. But even like focusing on breathing, because therefore breathing has tons of benefits like you didn't even think about.
Tons.
That's crazy.
Even humming. Humming is a really good one. Yeah. So if you ever meditate and hum at the exhale, you increase the exhalation phase.
So like that? Okay.
And you literally just hum. If you think about it, you want to hum as long as possible. So that's a longer exhalation. So that automatically improves the or turns on the parasympathetic. And you also increase that ability to release nitric oxide within the body. So you automatically, again, vasodilate those blood vessels and allow more blood flow and oxygen to be sent throughout your body. And bonus, it causes almost like an eccentric, which we call like a lengthening load tension onto your pelvic floor, which all men and women have pelvic floors. And so we actually help to strengthen our pelvic floors.
That's
while
crazy.
We hum.
Dang, we just got scientific.
I know.
As hell.
Sorry. I'm trying to keep it as basic as possible, but just understanding that it all plays a role, and it's also important.
What, have you had any, without getting too crazy personal, like health, maybe not like scares, but like what personal health things that you've had to get through? Because I think people will think like, oh, you're a physical therapist, you help so many people, you're perfect,
crazy
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Everywhere.
So like what physical challenges have you had to go through?
So in grad school, at one point we did this where you take pictures in like sports bra and shorts and like kind of see your body alignment. And I was like, oh my God, my left shoulder is like really high and my left hip goes in like crazy. And I was like, that's so weird. Like I'd never observed my body like that. And then I was also teaching Pilates at the time. And after a year of teaching at this chiropractic office, they were finally like, do you want an assessment? And I was like, all right, sure. And so I went and did an assessment, did an x-ray and everything, and found out that, oh, this is why my body alignment looks off, because I have scoliosis.
Oh, straight up.
So I have a pretty significant scoliosis and a little bit of forward head too. And I was like, what? I thought I was being punked. I was like, that's not my spine. You put someone else's up there. Because I don't have pain. I don't have problems. Like I am doing acro yoga and exploring my body and doing all these crazy things and lifting and whatever else. And so that was weird experience. And then, in grad school as well, I ended up there was a year where I had really severe stomach pain, like severe. I couldn't eat for a week sometimes. I would go into the hospital, get put on morphine. At first they thought it was my appendix, and it wasn't that. And then they thought, one doctor was like, saw me for like 2 seconds, didn't talk to me at all, and then sent me home with a flyer to not eat dairy. And I was like, you don't even know if I eat dairy.
And that was immediate?
Yeah.
Wait, he didn't talk to you?
He saw me for like 2 seconds, and then the next
in your
day,
eyes or what?
barely. The next
dairy, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, how do you even know? You didn't even talk to me about my lifestyle. And then the final doctor was just like, oh, you're a grad student, you have a boyfriend, you have this, like you're stressed, you have IBS, and put it on stress and gave me anxiety meds. And I was like, which I didn't take, because I'm like, you should see some of the people in my class. They're stressed. Yeah. I'm competing in calisthenics. I'm having fun. I'm doing my thing. Like, I'm great. I just wish the stomach pain would go away. And it wasn't until after the third time going to the hospital, my dad was finally like, you're doing the colonoscopy. And I was like, fine. So I did a colonoscopy and found out I had a twisted colon in 3 places.
Wow. Is that from all the acro yoga?
I don't know. My years of gymnastics just twisted everything up. Honestly, I believe it was due to how I ate all growing up.
How'd you eat?
Like bean and cheese burritos, bread, chocolate milk.
Yep.
sugar. I mean, I had zero awareness. I was the kid needing to like pop Tums and Gas-X and eating all of these things, because I remember even going out to dinner sometimes and I would have to lay down in the booth before I was ready to eat again. Like, but we just thought, oh, it's like, I just have stomach problems. Here's a pill. Take this. Tums makes it better. Gas-X makes it better. Like, just take these pills. And I was conditioning myself that I was masking symptoms. I wasn't getting to but my parents didn't know. I didn't know. Yep. And I just continued to eat the way I did. And I think that is what over time developed into issues. And the more I've continued to learn, the more I've continued, like I haven't had any issues anymore. I know when I do have bloating and stomach issues I'm not perfect. So based on how I'm eating or allowing myself to eat. And that was a big one, and that came with more awareness of food and health and nutrients.
And then do you untwist?
With the colonoscopy, it untwisted.
Oh, it did. Okay.
So, which was, they partially knock you out, and I remember still crying. Like, I remember feeling tears. I remember it was an intense pain. I remember trying to push the nurse's hand away from me, because every time they went into a twist, the nurse had to push into my stomach so he could go into a twist. And I eventually knocked out, because I remember hearing one of the nurses like, she's crying. Should we give her more?
Yeah.
And I woke up a little while later, and the nurse was like, oh, how you feeling? And I was like, that was awful. And he was like, oh, we hoped you'd forget. And I was like, yeah, no, you guys should have knocked me out from the beginning. Yeah. That's
crazy.
It was a crazy experience. And so knowing that, like, and all these like things that have happened, like I had issues with contacts for a while.
Say contacts?
Contacts.
Like eye contacts.
Eye contacts.
Why?
I've just worn them so much throughout the years, and I was starting to get cysts underneath my eyelids. And one eye doctor didn't really tell me what was going on, just told me to take this really expensive like little bottle of drops and it would go away, and that wasn't working. So I went back to Clear Eyes because my eyes were getting red.
Yeah.
And then went to another eye doctor who explained everything that was happening, and I started crying in his office, not because it was like scary, but because I actually had appreciation for like, oh, this is why. Like, and he actually educated me instead of just like, oh, just take this and you'll be fine. And so that gave me a whole appreciation with just how to work with humans as a physical therapist. Like, one, I'm going to talk to you, actually get to know your story. I'm not going to diminish your experience of pain and just say it's all in your head. Like, let's work together and seeing where this actually, the root of the problem came from. Maybe it does have a little bit more to do with mindset, but maybe it is physical as well. So how can we play into both of those? How can I educate you into your body and mind and breath and everything? And how can I truly help to build that awareness and education? Because just like I'm not going to even put drops in my eye without knowing why I would be doing it, no one is going to do exercises I tell them unless they know why it's important.
Yeah. Because we're looking for, most of us are looking for the magic pill.
Right. Unless you're empowered to understand that it's beyond that and that it's like, and feel something. People need to feel it. Like so many clinicians I know, it's just like, oh, well, the client didn't do their exercises. They got worse. I'm like, no, you didn't educate them as to why it'd be important. You didn't allow them to feel that in their bodies. And so actually it's on you.
Ooh, so what do you mean feel?
Like someone needs to experience that feeling of like, oh, I feel the pain difference. I feel the change. I understand how this exercise, how this breath work, how this whatever it may be would be beneficial into my health. No one's going to do it unless they understand why and they feel that difference within their body.
So that it almost brings it back around of being in alignment with yourself and the integrity and like your why.
Totally.
Like, do you have, you're already making an impact, but do you have like a big dream that you're like working for? Like, do you have just like, this would be like, I know you're enjoying life right now, enjoying every day, but do you have like a big vision?
Yeah. I was actually just talking to my boyfriend about this yesterday. We were going into like, what is, the bigger picture here? What is like, what are we working for? And for me, I feel like I am going to continue to feel on purpose as long as I know that I'm reaching people, I'm connecting with people, and I'm helping people, whether that's huge or small.
Yeah.
Do I want to reach more people? Totally, because I know that when people start to understand this and truly feel it in their body, there's a change. And there can be so much power within that change that people can create in themselves and in their own bodies. And so I want to continue to reach more people. I want teams that are creative with me, and I'm not just thinking of all the ways to reach more people. I want other people like telling me what to do and helping me in that creative vision together. And that's really where I feel like I would be most on purpose.
That's cool. I love that. So you're a master, with the body. So make sure you follow Jen, go do her programs.
Still learning, but
right. We're always learning, but what is besides like something physical? Well, no, I'll ask this. Like, what have you learned? Like, what surprised you over the past year besides something like physical? Maybe it's spiritual. I don't know, whatever it is. Like, what has surprised you that you've learned?
So one of the other body things that happened to me was I got shingles last year.
Oh.
And
so what are shingles again? They're red.
They're like, it kind of forms around the nerves. Typically it's around your abdomen area, which I've had like a rash on my abdomen from heat stress from when I was working out and wearing sweaty shirts. So I thought that's what it was. Okay. And I kept rubbing like cortisone cream. Like, why isn't this going away? Eventually I went into a dermatologist and she was like, shingles. I was like, oh, great. And that to me became like my message goes so much deeper because my message has always been listen to the body. Like, where are you feeling tight? Where are you feeling restricted? Where are you feeling weak? Listen to your body. Your body will lead you. Your body will tell you. And yes, on that physical level, yes, but it goes deeper. So are you listening to your stress? Are you listening to what your gut is telling you about the people around you? Are you listening within your relationship? Are you getting your voice heard within your workplace, within your family life, within like, are you feeling seen and heard and respected and like a human? As humans, we all want to feel seen. Yeah. And you have to be able to speak your truth in order to even feel seen. And I was in a relationship where ultimately I wasn't feeling seen and the stress was building so much that I got shingles. And now it's an incredible reminder for me. It's like, I don't have any tattoos, but this is now, I still have scars from shingles.
So what, like, I'm going to have to Google it because I don't know what they look like.
It's almost like chicken pox.
Okay.
But I had waited until it scarred before I even got it checked, because
that's fascinating.
Typically with shingles, you get a lot of pain. It hurts because it's like a nerve pressure. Yeah. I didn't have pain with it, which I'm very grateful for, but it does come, typically it's like an autoimmune disease. So it comes on when you're stressed. I was stressed. I know this. I was very stressed at the time. I'm, doing business, doing work life, doing everything, and I was trying to force a relationship that wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. And I even was seeking out therapy, and I was in a very place of just exploding. I literally felt like I was like this little girl trying to yell from my body, of being like this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. And I wasn't able to effectively communicate that feeling. And I wasn't able to, I didn't feel seen. And for me, that's okay. I wasn't able to effectively use my voice, effectively listen to myself either. And so now, and then fast forward a few months, and it ends up, I was in an unfaithful relationship. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, that voice within me, that gut, that intuition, that was me not listening, that I was in a place that I shouldn't have been. And not trusting my gut, and not trusting that something is off, something is wrong. Why is this happening? Why? And so now it's my reminder to always trust my intuition. Always come back to, what am I feeling in this moment? How am I communicating it? Am I effectively being seen within my surroundings? Am I being seen within myself? And am I allowing myself to trust myself that something feels off? And relay that effectively, to be heard, to be seen, to whatever it is. And it is my reminder, like no other, listen to your body on a deeper level. Trust your gut, trust yourself, trust those feelings. I don't care if it's crying, anger, sadness, joy. Trust those feelings. Allow them to come forth. Obviously in situations where you would be accepted and supported by people. Or maybe that's even journaling. Maybe that's meditating. Maybe that's going to a course. Maybe that's listening to a podcast, but allow yourself to feel the feelings and really go into that and trust yourself that this is real for you right now.
Wow, that was really powerful. Jen, you're a really good person.
I'm just trying to come back to me over and over again, but thank you.
Well, this is about you. Obviously, it's okay to talk about yourself. That's what this hour is dedicated towards. So I wasn't in something like these exact same, but earlier this year I tried to make a relationship work that just, like you said, you're trying to, even before you found all that stuff, you knew. And I feel like we need to go through that, right? Because now you have the reminder, and now you can be fully willing and accepting of another full relationship that has all those other things, right? But why do you think we try and force past that?
I think
we know.
I know. I think for me personally, I think it's going back to needing the structure, needing the perfection. I was a gymnast too, so I came from a very perfectionist background, which doesn't help anything.
Her apartment looks really good too. It's pretty perfect.
Thank you. But yeah, so going back to wanting things to be right, and and people telling me oh, I'm so lucky, and I have this beautiful thing, and people comparing, and me comparing, and what it's supposed to be, or holding on to the idea of but I know it could be this, and this is the potential and this is where we've talked about things going. So I'm going to hold on to the potential that has been told to me rather than face value. What is in front of me right now that I'm not receiving that in my deepest core values, just like we talked about family, like those are super deep for me, aren't being seen. Because if that's not being seen, I'm not being seen.
So were you ignoring like straight up, was it like deep down you knew a feeling, or were you ignoring like straight up like practical real world things?
Oh, yeah.
Both? Okay.
I was ignoring things and just saying, I was trying so hard to be in acceptance mode of like,
Totally.
of like, oh, but that's that person. That's okay. I'm going to accept. I'm going to be me. I'm going to lean in. Like, but here's what I also got to forgive myself on of, okay, I'm going to like after all this is done and going back and being like, what? I can be accepting and we're not aligned and that's okay. And also accept that, you know, rather than trying to force something. But I also got to say, I forgive myself for staying in a place where I was repeating the pattern of I'm not enough.
Oh.
Because if I'm saying I need to be more accepting, I need to be more this, I need to be more that, I'm also then saying I'm not enough as I am right now.
Yes.
And I am choosing then to stay in that place rather than this is okay, we're not aligned, I'm going to accept that and I'm going to walk away before needing to hear and know all the information. So that was a huge forgiveness of myself to acknowledge.
Love that. I love that you are like focusing and have gone through the forgiving of yourself, because I think through that situation, we often talk about forgiving the other person.
Yeah.
But
Which
it's
is
like,
huge still.
yeah, but it's still important. But it's like, you did your best still though.
Yeah.
You know,
think we
like
all
at that
did
time.
in this situations.
Exactly.
We always are. So it's like, for me, I try not to focus energy over that way. Like, where's my energy here? How did I draw this in? How did I, like, we can always, you know, point fingers at someone else and like, I drew this in because that person was like this or that person was like that. Or, you know, we can go and say about the person or about the people of our past. But how do we then say, how was I the mirror for that? How did I draw that in? And for me, it was like, it was 5 years ago when I met this person and I was very in an insecure place and I was very in a needing validation from someone else rather than having it within myself. So that's what I drew in.
Dang, yo, this is so good. So how are you validating yourself right now?
Continuing to come back to me again and again and again and not being afraid to use my voice to speak into what is valuable to me and where I need to be, how I need to show up, how I need to show up for me. And that is also how I've drawn in an amazing human into my life. I've said things that in, you know, how we're taught as women, especially like, oh, don't say that. That's going to push him away, or don't say that too soon, or don't go there.
Hear about this.
So like, second weekend that we ever hung out, we felt this intense connection and it was something I've never experienced before. And I was, you know, we kind of talked about like, oh, I can already see you being my girlfriend. And I was like, well, I'm not looking for just a boyfriend. I'm looking for a partner for where I am in my life.
Yeah.
I'm so clear that who I get to be with next gets to be very aligned with my family because I didn't have that before. And I allowed that to be okay, where that's one of my deepest values. Yeah. That gets to be like in alignment. And so I was like, so I said, yeah, like you'd have to meet my family. I'm looking for a partner. Like these things that should be, all right, bye, you know, pushing some away. And it just drew us in even closer. We talked about spirituality. So cool. We talked about travel. We talked about purpose. We talked about non-negotiables. We talked about just so many things that were like, okay, like values on point. I'm being seen. And even as I continued, I will say, to walk my journey of getting past my past of manipulation and betrayal and resentment, because it's a journey, guys. Like, it doesn't just go away. He's open to holding space for that.
Yeah.
And I told him from the very beginning, like, listen, I'm still on my healing journey. Triggers may come up for me. It has nothing to do with you. But, like, you don't have to walk this journey with me. And he held space and was amazing and incredible. And so, like, and he's always, and I think we just both give ourselves that permission to be in it, however that may be. Whether that is like feeling frustrated, feeling sad with ourselves, feeling so incredibly excited and needing space, like whatever that is, like we allow and give permission for the other person to feel.
Yeah, just for it all. That's what it sounds like. That's so cool. Just like, yeah, like whatever it is, just like feel it.
Yeah.
You know, talk about it.
Yeah.
No judgment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's dope. So I know men and women, you know, whatever. I'm not going to use proper therapist lingo, but what should, oh my hell, whatever. Like,
just say it. It's all
you
good.
should all do this. Do what we say. But like, because like you just mentioned earlier about kind of women like not saying things or not asking for it all. Why not? Right? Like, why not?
Yes.
Right? Why not ask for it all? Like, you can freaking get it and create it. So what is your message? Like, why not?
It always comes back to being clouded from whether that's family, friends, past relationships, whatever it is. And so I would say, like, get so clear in who you are.
Ooh.
Like, you don't draw in this couple goals and relationship goals or whatever it is just by looking at another person or seeking it out in another person. It has to start within. It has to start here. And so it's okay. Like writing for me has been so powerful. I never was like a long-term journaler. I don't do it every day. I do it when I need to, but this is one of those times that I would recommend someone doing it and saying, okay, what is it that I want? Take out what my parents think, take out what my family thinks, take out what my friends think, take out what were my past relationships and what they told me. Because I was also told, like, I can't have a family person that also wanted to attack life and be purpose driven and not work a 9 to 5. If I was going to have a family man, he was going to be a 9 to 5er. And if that's what you want, fine. But that's what I was that's what I was told from my past. And so that's what I started to believe. And so it's like, no. If I can be this person, why can't another person be that person?
I like that.
And that's what also allowed me not to get stuck in that like, oh, he cheated, all men cheat, like this is all bad. No, again, if I don't, if I'm loyal, if I'm trustworthy, if I'm in integrity, I know that I can mirror that back as well.
That's cool. It goes back to that mirror.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
So rather than being jaded and having one person's choices dictate everyone's choices, that's not how it works.
That sounds so silly, but that's really what we do. That's funny. That just like hit me. What? Yeah, we think that one person's choices is like that's what everyone's gonna do. Exactly.
Which is so silly and so crazy.
That is silly.
And not reality at all. And so if we can then go back into, okay, again, journal, what is it that I want? What is it that I envision? What is the life, the relationship? I mean, nowadays you can create whatever kind of relationship you want as well, and you won't be judged for it. I don't care if it's like you want multiple partners, you want one main partner and then other, like it doesn't matter. Create what you want, be real with it. Maybe it's men and women. Maybe it's, just whatever it is, like get clear for you. And I was even talking to another friend, and he wanted more of a he termed monogamish relationship.
Yeah.
And he explained what that means and how he would want to have kids and what that looks like. And then I just got to recently chat with him, and he found that.
That's so cool.
And he cultivated it. And I'm like, see, when you get clear on what it is you want, you can draw that in. It doesn't have to be, well, this person is doing this, so I have to do that, or whatever it may be. You can create what you want to create.
I love it. Okay. So there's a segment in my show as we wind down. It's called Scroll My Soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
So what that means is I keep a running list of notes from podcasts, conversations, quotes, whatever inspires me, my own thoughts or whatever. I write it down, and then I randomly scroll through the phone or the notes of my phone. I stop, I read it back to you, and I say, what does this make you think, or how do you feel when I read it? Cool. But the funny thing is, I actually wrote this right before I left to come here to meet you. And so I'm not going to scroll. I'm just, because it fits so well. And I thought it must be meant to be. So this is cool. I wrote, it doesn't matter how many times you're told you're beautiful, enough, or worthy if you don't believe it yourself.
100%. Oh my God. That was me. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even take compliments. If someone gave me a compliment, I'd be like, no, stop. Or reflect it back to them, or like, well, that's so cute on you, or like whatever it is. Like, yeah. I couldn't accept and say thank you and just receive that. And so that was a big process and journey for me. And then I had someone point out to me that as I would get ready in the morning, I would tear down every little thing about myself. And verbally, not needing someone to validate it or say anything. It was just a regular practice of like, oh, I look fat today. Oh, my hair. Oh,
you would really say that?
I would say that.
Wow, that's surprising to me.
And then when it got pointed out that like the energy that you create just being around you sounds really negative, and I was like, oh no, like I'm creating negativity for someone else. Like, I thought this was just here, like, and that's okay. But now me verbalizing means that I'm giving permission for other people to speak to themselves that way. Then I started, increase my awareness. It's what I wear around my wrist, awareness. And then I noticed my mom did it. My friends did it.
Wow.
Almost all, like, even think about it, like you take a picture with a group of friends, what is the first thing that you look at? Yourself.
Or even in a video.
Yes.
I always catch myself, just yours watching yourself. I'm like, nope, look at the other person.
Yeah. Or like, okay, take a photo, appreciate the scenery first, the other people, appreciate what's the moment, and then maybe we take another one, like whatever, after you look at yourself, but appreciate like the other things rather than just what you fixate on is your own insecurity that no one else can see and no one else cares about. And then, so I actually enrolled my friends and family, my mom, to, if I say anything bad about myself, can you please catch me and make me reverse it, and ditto. Like if you say anything negative about yourself, I'm going to be like, hey, hold up. Can you reverse that real quick? And then I spent a month writing down 2 to 3 things I loved about myself every day. And
is that how you ultimately do you do it anymore?
I don't do it. Do I still need reminders every once in a while? Totally. Will I still catch myself or my friends? Totally. So yeah, it's still a practice, but it's 100% shifted my mindset on myself. It's allowed the energy within my friend group to just be so incredibly supportive, and like, yes, I know. There's That's like a cool. joke too of like one of the personal development programs I went through, and someone gives you a compliment and you say, thank you, I know. Yeah. That might be a little too much for me, but
why not?
Like, I know, exactly.
It goes back into like, why can't you have it all? Like, yeah, of course there's sacrifices and hard times, whatever, but why can't you create like what you want?
Yeah. And
like appreciate your dopeness.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Accept it. Have compassion for yourself. That's love.
So what are 2 things you love about yourself today?
2 things I love about myself. Got put on the spot.
That's right.
Okay.
It's a practice.
It is a practice. I love, I so appreciate my body. It just, it goes so deep. With the appreciation and love, I can sit out of bed, I can walk, I can many things that I can say about that. And then I will say that I love my hair.
Hey, there you go. The hair does look good.
Thank you.
Objectively, and way to accept. There you go, way to accept it. That's awesome. Okay, so as we wind down, is there anything on your mind, heart, or soul that you feel compelled to speak of?
I really appreciate this time to time connection, this in-person interview. I love doing them in person because
So much better.
It's the connection and the energy.
Exactly.
And I'm just like sitting in this moment, truly appreciating like the time that you took, the energy that we get to create and put into the world. And so I would say take time wherever you are listening and wherever you're going to, wherever you came from, and appreciate it.
Ooh, I like that. And I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you're genuine as hell. So I'm excited for all the good that's already here, and all of whatever else that we can't see is coming.
Yay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adios. All right, gang. Thank you for watching that entire interview. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave a review on iTunes. I would really appreciate it. It helps get the word out. It helps other people that you don't know find it. And, share it with somebody. If something in here impacted you, share it with them. Because if you don't share it, they might not hear it. So make an impact, make a difference, and share it with somebody and leave a review. I appreciate that greatly, so thank you. And this week, our challenge is inspired by Jen and her company, her brand, her movement, The Mobility Method. And she is doing a challenge this week, which is mobility and gratitude. Being thankful for our bodies that we can move, and also relieving pain, preventing injury, and mobility helps us even get stronger so we can lift more weight in the gym, squat lower, squat heavier. So our challenge this week is being grateful for our mobility and practicing that mobility to feel better in our bodies. So there's a link in the description that you need to go join, or you need to go click and join it right now, because the challenge begins on Monday, November 4th. So go join right now so you can join me and Jen and our communities in this amazing challenge. And if you happen to be watching this after the fact, of course, go sign up. She does challenges every so often. As usual, I always do every challenge, and I like to lead by example. I like to be the guinea pig because I love to level up and try new things. So I am, of course, doing the challenge. You'll see me in my stories every day doing the challenge. And Jen and I did a video together that you'll also see later this week. So get ready for this. This is pretty dope. I appreciate you tuning in. Man, just like look at me. You're so cool for being interested in your personal growth, your development. You took over an hour a day to watch this. Like if you were watching me speak, you took over an hour in your day to watch this. That is awesome. So you are enough. You are doing it. You're taking care of yourself. So I love you for that. And if it's anyone, it's you. If it's any time, it's now. Hit me up. My name is Ben at GoalLink Group. I want to see how you're leveling up every week, what challenges you're going through, what your successes are. The whole wave of life through all of it. That's the experience. So hit me up. I'd love to talk to you. Have an amazing week.